Hello my friends, this is going to be kind of quick. As you know, I have discovered giant creatures that are all on the surface of the earth. Picked them right off the top of the earth. These were not buried 540 million years ago. They're looking for habitable life that would have the signature of 540 million years ago, because they say that's when life started. No. This is very, very recent, all my stuff. And the life of these giants and everything else, I show over and over and over. It's just recent. It's all on the surface of the earth. The things that I have here, these giants, this is a giant fingertip. It's 3 feet long. DNA tested. It's absolutely flawless. The fingerprint is there, the bone, the little pad between the bones, the vein and artery, and then when I broke this piece off the side to get the blood out of it, it came off with fingerprints. You see these? These are the fingerprints. My thumb is as wide as one of these fingerprint ridges. And this piece popped right off just like it would if it was here. It's a completely separate pad of skin that's just dense and thick with what they call keratin and collagens. It's a protective barrier, and I call it grip skin. Some call it friction skin. It's your outer layer of skin, but it happens to be on your hands and your feet and so forth, where it's very, very durable because it's just being used. It's a friction, grip skin. And this is all on the surface of the earth. And again, this DNA tested. This is not just a hoping that I'm right. And this one was DNA tested too. And that's a fingertip. And that is the curve right there of the fingernail on this one. And this is about 7 or 8 inches long. And I have the palm of it, and knuckles and all kinds of things. Again, DNA tested. CAT scan, that's a 2D CAT scan. I have a 3D CAT scan as well. Here's the 3D scan, and you can see the bone up inside. Just shadow. This is nucleophilic substitution. Totally different than the way bones normally fossilize. This was a head, a complete head. And this was found by Arlie Caudle down in Kentucky, and Jim Burchell showed this on TV, and the presenter he showed it to said, "Oh no, that's just fake," and that was it. 20 seconds on TV, and that was it. And I said, "No, this is real." And here's his nose and everything. You see the nose? It's splayed off. This is blood. Black and red is blood. This guy's head was bludgeoned in. It looks like a big round circle, and he still got the cap on his head, whatever the cap was. If you really look deep into this, you can see the weave of the cap. It's not his hairline. And you can slide a playing card up underneath between the cap and up by the side of his head. Now, this I had CAT scanned at the request of Yale, saying, "Oh, it can't be real, can't be real." I said, "Yes, it is real." And I had a CAT scan where they said they have theirs done, and it was an absolute nightmare. It ended up really, really bad. So I had 7 other CAT scans done. Jesse Grant Associates did a fabulous job. They didn't do this because by that time I sort of lost contact with Jim and Arlie. I think they were a little upset because it was very expensive, and it was terrible, and it ended up just being a nightmare, absolute nightmare. So we sort of haven't really had a whole lot of conversation since, because I led them. I said, we can prove this, and we can. It's absolutely 100% provable. This could be tested, this for DNA right now, absolutely no question whatsoever. And because of these big universities, they refuse to do it. They refuse to talk, absolutely refuse. After DNA and CAT scans, well, here's the DNA test. Here's a DNA test. This was done 8 years ago, in 2015. And I presented all this to Yale, and they did finally present their paper saying, yes, there was exceptional preservation, and they can't explain it. Here's their paper right here. Exceptional preservation of soft-bodied creatures by silica-rich oceans. Exactly what I told them. And the paper outlines identical to what I told them. And here's their other little blurb they put out. They're cementing their theory about sea creatures and how perfectly they preserved. And they say, if it's not for a quirk in the chemistry of the ancient oceans, which is the silicates. And the silicates were there because it was a hot water flood. And the hot water boiled off the skin, which is the 50 times more silicon in the skin than the rest of the body. And all these creatures were boiled, and the silicates filled in all the voids. And that's why you have a lot of things with veins of quartz, they call it. Yeah, well, and actually, look at this. Things can be completely replaced with quartz. You see that? That's not a fake head. Absolutely not. That's Mitchell's Hedges skull. And you see the same thing on this is the one with from Jim and Arlie. The nose is all crushed back. This one, the lip is twisted up. This one, the face was in the mud. So some of this fleshy stuff stayed, but it did turn into silicon. The rest of the fleshy stuff just basically evaporated into this soup of silicon and enzymes and so forth. You see these? You see this? Look at this. This is what's inside the brain. These are the brain nerves. They're identical. There's no difference whatsoever. It's identical. There's no question whatsoever. That is real. And that is, nobody carved that inside that head. I can't see any possibility anybody could even think that. And you've seen Quetzalcoatl, and this was their ancient glyph of him, and he's, as far as I'm concerned, he is there. And he is gigantic. And I was looking up Thunderbirds this morning for the Thunderbirds from the ancient Indian texts, because I have I'm hoping to get in with a couple of the Native Americans. There's one here that's, I put up something about this conference they're going to have, this NERA conference. And the speaker is going to be Andre Strong Bearheart Gaines Jr., and he's the Connecticut guy, and I'm in Connecticut. And I'd like to donate all this stuff. I'd give it to the Indians if they put up a little demonstration somewhere, something nice that people could go and, like a little museum sort of thing. I'm willing to do that. But anyway, I haven't heard from anybody yet, except for somebody did comment, because I mentioned that name. He's from the Nipmuc, which has these stories about Hobbamock, which was the giant. He's absolutely, and he's here. There's no question about that. And I showed exactly where he is and all his features and everything. And he's right down in the New Haven area. And he commented. Here's what his comment was. He says, Strong Bearheart feels free if I meet with him, if I can connect with him, and it appears I cannot. The registration's over. I didn't get any response, so I don't know. Who knows? But if I can connect with him, tell him that two hawks from the Mashapog Narragansett suggested you touch base with him. So these people, some people know about these things, but they're people of the older ways that are holders of the ancient knowledge, and they are not respected. They're totally not respected. And I started looking up the Thunderbirds and so forth. All right, and here's what they say about the Thunderbirds. It says, this is Algonquin mythology, but they say the Thunderbird controls the upper world, while the underworld is governed by the underwater panther or great horned serpent. Great horned serpent. The Thunderbird creates not just thunder with its wing flapping, but lightning bolts which it casts at the underworld creatures. This has all been written about also in the past. And my research supports all of this, even though it's absolutely totally insane. But Typhon in a desert in Morocco is a dragon that spit fire. Of that there is no question either. And he's written about in the ancient texts. So all of this ancient knowledge is just wasted on people that can't see. What's right in front of their eyes and right on top of the surface of the earth. And this is a feather. You see that? That's a feather, and I think it's a turkey feather. You see the color? You see the thickness of that feather? And here it is, where it was in place. My friend Greg Morrison sent me this. Look at this. There it is right there. There's the feather, and here's the feather right by the side of the road. This is a feather. Absolutely enormous. Gigantic. So these things were quite real. They've been talked about, but never been able to talk about them without being laughed at. Regardless of the evidence. This is what kills me. It's regardless of the evidence. It makes no difference whatsoever if you have evidence anymore. You're told what to say, and if you don't say it, they will fail you in your life. These are your teachers. This is just not right. Not right at all.